Welcome to Front of Book Texas. I'm Christy Ramirez. Conversations with the creators and icons driving lifestyle and culture today. From Texas to the world, timeless, untamed. Texas creativity, global influence. If you love Texas style, you'll want to hear today's conversation with Lauren Mahoney and Matt Owen, the married creative duo behind the Austin vintage store, Lauren Owen of Texas. I covered fashion and style for 20 years in Texas, and believe me when I say this is a very special store. It has a late 20th century old Texas money aesthetic that is so transportive. We also talk Texas style icons, growing up in Fort Worth, how their leadership roles at Urban Outfitters built a foundation for how to create brands, and why those things, when all combined, have shaped their distinct point of view. When I saw Lauren Owen of Texas, it came up on my Instagram, and just kind of like randomly, I was like, what is this place? And kind of like deep dove into it, then went to the store, and I felt instantly transported to this nostalgic Texas place that like spoke to my childhood. It made me think of how my dad dressed in the 70s and the 80s. There's something so specific about Lauren Owen of Texas, and I'm going to say it here now. I'll die on this cross. I will defend it passionately. I think it is the best vintage store in Texas when it comes to this kind of energy and vibe. If you're trying to pick up like Lynn Wyatt at Gillies in 1979 and Glenn Campbell is headlining, this is Lauren Owen of Texas. So welcome you guys to Front of Book Texas. I am such a huge fan, and I can't wait to get into how you built this brand. So hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having us. We're also thrilled.
You're the creative duo behind Lauren Owen of Texas, but you have like a really incredible CV. So tell us a little bit about that, because you both worked for Urban Outfitters, which owns Urban Outfitters, Free People, Anthropologie. Tell us a little bit about those roles and how you brought that over to Lauren Owen in building a brand specifically around a certain moment in time in Texas.
I actually went to school for history, and I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do with it, but I went to school in New York and wanted to be in fashion retail. So eventually I landed at Urban, and I am very, very grateful for all that I learned. I went from the buying world and merchandising over to the creative world, and then eventually ended up overseeing all of concept and product design across men's, women's, and home. So my experience, I also oversaw the photo studio at one point. I really got to experience the full breadth of roles that you have there, other than the financial and planning side.
I just had a flash of your overlapping calendar.
Yes.
There's one time where there's this long visual that they had to like paste paper to make it work.
To fit it.
Like 6 seasons overlapping constantly.
It sounds
Yes.
so intense.
Matrix.
I mean, it sounds like super overwhelming.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it was just this interest I always had in fashion, but then also in solving the problem. And so there were always problems to solve. And, living that firsthand, working in a company that was financially stable even through 2008 and all kinds of upheavals with the economy was interesting to see how we were able to survive through those and even be more successful. The joke at Urban was kind of we're recession proof, and when the economy went down, our sales went up. So all of the lessons that are wrapped up within there are definitely elements that we use every day on a smaller scale, but almost bigger for ourselves because we're doing it all ourselves.
Did you guys meet at Urban Outfitters? Is that where y'all met?
Yes.
It's one of
Office
those places,
romance. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a couple of years younger than me too, so that was
Fun
but
to navigate. We had met and then got engaged, and then I actually moved to New York. And I was like, Lauren, come back to New York with me. But she kept getting really great opportunities. So I ended up going back in and starting to do creative direction overall. And I did the store design, the website design, worked at the brand marketing side. I did all of the logo identity shoots, e-com, all of it. I mean, the whole shebang.
I mean, you were the global
And
creative director. Like,
yeah,
that's
we also
kind
did
of
it
a
for
crazy
franchises
title.
and yeah, it was nuts. It was a lot. And it was interesting because we were on such different sides of the company. And so between the two of us, we had this very like wide view of everything that kind of helped each other. And I think in that setting with so much happening, that type of shared context really, that's when Laura and I really started to become partners, both
Right.
personally and professionally.
Yeah,
And
and I guess you probably understood that you could work together, and taking the knowledge that you had from Urban over to like building your own brand makes
oh,
all the
totally.
sense in the world. And Matt, you're from Fort Worth,
That's right. Yep. Born and raised
right?
in Fort Worth.
Yeah. And so is that part of the reason that you guys left Urban? Did you move back to Texas after leaving Urban, or did you go to New York first and then came back here? Like, what did that, journey look like to get back to Texas?
We really targeted Texans, actually. We had a long conversation. I'd gotten sick for a period of time too. I had
Hmm.
leukemia, and that
Oh
knocked
my
me out of work
gosh.
altogether. Yeah, I had
Oh my
ALL. I
gosh.
couldn't, and it was sudden.
It was a month before
Yeah.
our second daughter was born. So we had a almost 3-year-old and a soon to be born child when that happened.
And
So,
Wow.
COVID hit
and then
at the
COVID hit
same
soon after.
time.
Yeah.
Oh my
It was,
gosh.
and we were
So,
kind of floating
Sounds a
in
little stressful.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, we didn't have a
just a
lot
little
of
bit.
family around. It's funny because there was a period where Lauren's like, I'm not just moving back to Texas with you or something. And then next thing we know,
Well, roll back to when I first meet Matt. All Texans are like, especially Texans' mothers are like, when are you coming back?
yeah,
Oh, for
And
sure. Yeah.
I
life's better in
was
Texas.
like, oh, that's not a thing. That's not where I'm gonna end up. But then as
So
you
funny.
live life and you value different things and you go through
Yeah, it
major life
changes.
changes, you realize what's really
Yeah,
important. And
family became
we
big on that
we
list.
just we talked through those difficult times and said, where do we really want to be? And stop letting our careers just dictate where we are, and try to because it's difficult in fashion. You kind of think of LA and New York as the main hubs of where you can
Right.
really be. And so we said, I think we can figure it out if we go to a place like Austin.
Yeah,
We can figure out a
Hmm.
place to go,
we
and
knew
that
that we
that
could
might
do our
be
work.
interested in both of
Yeah,
us.
we wanted to have, because I mean, it's that concept too. Once you're so far into the creative realm and everything, we knew the space we wanted to operate in. We love retail, we love fashion, we
Hmm.
love style, but at the moment too, I think urban is specific and they have such a specific agenda. And I think we were
Hmm.
at the time also being very into health and wellness and really like exercising more and just getting back, having young children is like a marathon
Hmm.
in itself. So that
Yes.
brought us to Austin with Outdoor Voices, where that was a really great opportunity at the time for us to relocate here, go to a brand that was so different than Urban in every single way, but also still like a fun challenge that applied to where we were at the time.
And Lauren, you were the chief brand officer at Outdoor Voices, and you came on before it went over into like different ownership, basically.
Yes, I actually, yes, there are some on and off stints through that, but yeah, we came in during a kind of tumultuous time, and for a
Hmm.
short period of time, we moved here in August of 2021, and um, I think the value we really gained from it, our experience, is that obviously we didn't have a team. I didn't have a team of 80 people.
Yeah.
And at a certain time period towards the end when we were getting when things were going a little south with the finances, there was a handful of people that worked there, and I was one
Hmm.
of those people. So all the things we were doing ourselves.
Yeah.
So when you go through that kind of tumultuous time at a company and go from a company that's so well supported and on such stable ground, and granted there were winds of change there too, but seeing that big of a difference in going from having a very large team to a small team and doing it yourself, we thought, why are we breaking our backs for another place right now when we've always wanted to start our own brand? So, with kind of some of the clouds come the silver lining, and I don't know if I would have had the guts to really jump ship, corporate ship,
Yeah.
and do it ourselves hadn't we had that experience. So
And you know what? I love what you said just now about working so hard for somebody else, right? It's like you're doing everything you can because you're probably driven, right? And you want to be successful and you're a resourceful person. And one day you just kind of look up and you're like, how come I'm not doing this for myself? And it's because everybody's
yes,
scared, right? I mean, it's
yes,
scary. But I think when
it
you work
is.
for a company that feels like a little unstable, you're like, wait a minute, I could be
Yeah, it's
building my
scary
own thing
already.
right now. It already is scary. Exactly. So I love that.
Totally.
And it's so great that you guys took a leap of faith. When did the concept for Lauren Owen of Texas come up? And how did you guys kind of know like what it was going to look like? What from Matt's past or him growing up in Fort Worth, like informed that? Like, I want to hear about just the way that it all kind of came together.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. It's pretty multi-stage too. We were trying to kind of reminiscing of this the other day. And in theory, we used to live in South Philadelphia and
Okay.
there was a store, this beautiful, Philly has tons of just sitting gorgeous storefronts and buildings and, it's an old
Been
town.
for 100 years,
Yeah,
basically.
it's just gorgeous. And there was this one store that the owners just didn't want to let anything go. So they left this old kind of decrepit display up on these windows. It was called Meglio Furs. And it was right,
Beautiful neon sign that
beautiful
says Meglio
sign.
Furs in this beautiful building.
And Philly's not like Austin. Austin, the signs are upkept and they're beautiful and they're out. This was almost like hidden. We're like, if we could just dust this off and unveil it. And we kept talking about how, like, what would that be if we got to reopen Meglio Furs and turn it into a
Mm-hmm.
brand? And we kept kind of talking more about Lauren Owen as a sense. At the time, I think
We
we
do
called it
call it that.
wardrobe,
Yeah.
but it was this idea of like, what is everything? What are the essential pieces that make up our like must-have items? My like ultimate style for me, which really worked well into what Lauren's is, because hers is so like classic Northeast preppy style. And
Mm-hmm.
I think my version in Fort Worth is the same to me, but it's boots. And like we just couldn't, the thought of putting it in Philadelphia, we were like, this won't work here. And so it
Yeah.
kind of just turned to the back burner. And then later on, I got sick and we had a house out in the country and we'd stay out there. And we're like, oh, maybe it could be out here. And then we're like, this still isn't right. And then we're like, all right, if we're going to do this, we need to move ourselves to the place that we know what our true passion would work. And that was really like very quickly turned into Austin and only Austin.
Was there, when you were thinking of the brand and you said just now, like referencing, your past and growing up, like, are there certain icons in Texas that you were like, you had somebody in mind? Were there people that you kept referencing?
Oh,
I
yeah.
know you had the books, but like, are there certain Texans that kind of kept coming up in your discussions?
Before we go to famous ones, someone that always had an influence on me was my piano teacher growing up.
Okay.
Her name was Miss Fitzpatrick, and she was from Texas. And
Oh,
She planted the
in
seed
my
for this.
mind, she is this quintessential Texan woman. Her husband was a geologist and
uh-huh.
archaeologist. And so they lived in this tiny, like, townhome where I'm from in Michigan. But it was filled with just amazing things from his studies. But then also, she always had a "Don't mess with Texas," you know,
I
flag
love
on the
it. Yes.
wall.
So
She
good.
always wore a crisp white poplin shirt with like the collar kind
Hmm.
of popped, some pearls. Her hair was
I know
always
this
done.
lady.
She always had on lipstick. She
Limoges
and
boxes.
she was sharp. She had to learn all the music. She learned all of her music backwards and forwards.
Oh my
She
gosh.
she had that kind of like Texas grit, but the warm hospitality mixture
Hmm.
that I find in a lot of really strong, amazing Texan women. And I just, every time I went there, everything about it I loved. The smell of her perfume, she had when you'd wait, there was a table with all these Limoges boxes of all different little tiny little shapes. So of course we have to carry Limoges boxes in the store. And
I
it
love
reminds everyone
that.
has a story about how their grandmother or their mother collected them. And so she really inspired me. And she was my iconic Texan that that was one of the early people that I met and was just inspired by. So
Yeah,
before
and like in
the
such
famous ones.
formative years. Like how old were you
Yes.
when you were taking piano lessons? You were probably
It's
pretty
like
young, right?
7 to 12, maybe
So I mean
maybe
that's
14.
the
Yeah.
yeah. I mean like super
Yeah.
impressionable. Like what a great Texan to be in contact with for like your
Yes.
first introduction to the culture.
I
That's
know, right?
amazing.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
so good. Every time she describes her, I'm like, oh, that lady really, she planted the
She hit
seeds
all
She
the
and
did.
she did
she
it
hit all the
well.
notes. Yeah, all
That's
the
the
right
Texas
notes.
lady, Texas women are strong and awesome, and
Yeah.
she embodied that. I had obviously an earlier side to that because my my whole family is from Fort Worth, and so it's just built in. Like I
Yeah.
grew up wearing boots since I was 0. My grandfather is also from my mom's side's all very much from Fort Worth, and then
Mhm.
my dad's side's from South Texas, and he's like 6th generation. They're from like the Daniel Boone family or whatever. So there's this
Oh
whole
my
legacy that we found
gosh.
out about. But his father was a sheriff in Sinton, which is like kind of
Okay.
like Corpus Christi area.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so whenever I'd see him, he'd bring me like a straw hat, like every single or a knife. And my
So
aunt worked
cool.
at King Ranch, and she would bring me like a King Ranch wallet.
Yes.
I still carry
Oh my
like one
gosh.
of the like long billfolds she gave me. So that was all. And we'd go to rodeo, and he'd always buy me a flag, and it, that
Just the best.
that kind of came and went. And I think, because you grow up and like, especially in Texas, you like want to find your own identity outside of
Yeah.
just that. So there's a long period where I was like more into punk rock and rap and whatever else. So it's
Oh,
like,
for sure. For sure. And
it
then as
went
you get older, you come
away
back around to like who you are and like where you grew
totally.
up, you know?
When I went to school in New York, and I really wanted to just go to TCU because all my friends went to either like UT,
Yeah.
TCU, or LSU. And I was like, I'm going to miss everything. But I'm an art kid. I don't know. I can't help it. Like I wouldn't have done well there, and I would have just probably partied. So it's God bless that I went to Pratt. But when I was there, I kind of was ready to shake Texas, and
Yeah.
it just kept getting attached to me in every single way. Everyone would talk about how I talked or stories that I'd tell, which, I've realized outside Texas, if you grow up in Texas, you kind of end up with crazy stories that other Texans all have. But
Yes.
like in New York, everyone is looking at you like you're crazy.
I think it's so cool that you finally like came back around to it, but really you didn't really have a choice, Matt. You
Yeah,
didn't have a
totally. It's
choice.
just built in. Well, I remember too, I was looking at some media at the time, and what's her name? I forgot her name. The I can't believe I forgot. Who was the creative director of Vogue?
And a
Anna
winter.
Wintour. Her
Yeah.
husband at the time was, what was his name?
He was
Shelby
Texan.
Bryan.
Yes,
Yeah, he was
yeah.
a Texan, Shelby Bryan. And I was like,
Yeah.
I also love tennis. And when I was watching like Wimbledon or something, and there was media of her with her husband, I was like, who's that dude wearing his boots at Wimbledon in like a suit? And it like really clicked to me at that time when I was in New York. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think that it has to be as separate as I thought. And here was a guy who looked just like everybody I grew up with, all my dad's and his friends and everything they were wearing, just like in New York, married to Anna Wintour. And I'm like, okay, this is like,
I
it
know, is
started
it
piecing together.
I know it's kind of interesting. I think like when you're younger, like you feel kind of like you're in a little bit of a bubble in Texas, but then you understand like, wait, we're kind of everywhere and we're much more sophisticated than people give us credit for, you know? And I
Yeah.
think when you're growing up, like in Fort Worth, I grew up between like Dallas and South Texas, also, and you're kind of just like in your own little world and you think that everybody is kind of like eating brisket on a
Yeah.
tortilla and maybe like this is just like what happens here, and then you realize that people leave, like you went to New York and then you came back. Like there's so many stories like that of people wanting to kind of like shake the Texas off of them for a minute, but then they realize like, oh my God, it's kind of the best place ever, and they come
Yes.
back. So
And
I
that's the
love
spirit
that.
of our story right there. That's that
Yeah,
moment that you just described is, I think, a huge, like Lauren's version of that is like the new discovery, and mine is the rediscovery. But that feeling
yeah,
and that emotion is like, that's what we put.
Yeah, as an outsider, there's like an oversimplification of what Texas is, but that's only
yeah,
possible because it is such a strong vision. I think
yeah,
like if you ask someone what a Michigander's like, there's not really a clear, it's not as
Yeah.
clear, I don't think, because there's not as much of the cultural elements that you can immediately draw upon. Like visually, if you think of visuals just alone, you're like
Yes.
cowboy boot, cowboy hat, rodeo, longhorns,
Mm-hmm.
you could just go on and, barbecue, Mexican food, like you could just keep going and going across the board on all levels of culture, music, and
Right.
fashion, etc. So I think that a lot of outsiders really oversimplify what it's about. And I can say I was very pleasantly surprised when I came to visit Matt's family. I'd been here before for work, excuse me. I'd been here before for work for South by Southwest and to visit
Mm-hmm.
different cultural, like music festivals for work. But when I came to visit Matt's family in Fort Worth, and his mom's involved in the arts and his dad, they both studied interior design, and
Oh,
they were really
wow.
interested, they're in the arts and they're interested in the arts. And um, I just, I saw this side that is it not one of the more apparent things that people talk about with Texas is this more
Yeah.
like well-traveled worldly side. And that's kind of what, when we came together, we're like, that's here. And that's a side of Texas that not everyone knows. And that's the side that we really want to
100%.
showcase it
Yeah.
in the brand. And like, it's not as simplistic, I guess, as some outsiders would say it
Yeah.
was.
I think that there is a pretty regular miscalculation of what it means to be from here or grow up here or what it's like here. And so I don't know. I think that part of this podcast is kind of dispelling that. It's like you look at
Yes.
Daniel Roseberry and you're like, okay, he's like designing Schiaparelli. Like,
Yes.
Mhm.
like there are, we talked to, Rob Wilson, who's an illustrator based in New York, and he's, illustrated for every publication, every brand, like under the stars. And he's from Ralls, Texas, outside of Lubbock. It's like population 1,300. And like he's just doing these amazing things, but so much of Texas informs what he does. He's got this really great,
Absolutely.
sophisticated point of view, but it also has like this little bit of Texas in all of the things, which I think is so great. Aside from like, your piano teacher, and just your personal references, like who are the Texas icons that you kind of think about when you think of Lauren Owen of Texas?
Oh, there's a big list for this. We've gone through so many kind of versions of rounding out what that sphere of influence
Well,
is.
I did all the women and you did all the men.
Oh, okay. That's a
So I
good one to
did
run through.
um Ann Richards,
Yes.
Solange Knowles, Aaron Wasson.
You could just even stop there, and it's such a strong, powerful list of style and
Yeah.
influence.
Sissy Spacek. We have this
Oh
book
my
about
gosh,
khaki.
yes.
And she's there's some photos of her wearing khaki, and she's just like that kind of like unique girl next door, not a lot of makeup, but still just looks very unique and individual. And we feel like that's a really big thing for Texans. And I also said Laura Bush because
Yes.
as an icon, she was ever present. She's, first lady.
We collect a lot of first edition books and
Yeah.
specifically on Texas. And we keep finding ones, and there are just these iconic shots of each of them in their like skirt suits and their hair done, and they
Yes.
look so proper. It's amazing.
I love the Bushes. I think, George Bush's style, like just their,
Oh yeah.
when he was in office, but then also before, when he was, owner of the Texas Rangers, and just
Mhm.
him in Texas. And even when I see those videos of him, like just busting out some Spanish, I'm like,
Yes.
Oh, so
I
good.
love him
I
so
know.
much, but like his
Uh-huh.
80s style is so good. And then
Yes.
pictures of him like on the ranch in
Totally.
Crawford, Texas, just like with a
Yes.
chainsaw and like taking down
Yes.
some trees.
Totally.
How
Yeah.
can you not appreciate that? Like it's
Yeah.
so good. It's so
Yeah.
good. What about you, Matt? What are some of your like icons?
The guys in Texas is a big list, and I grew up similar era too. Like, I even like, I've always been intrigued by every part of it. So like, my family would be
Yeah.
watching football. Maybe like Mac Brown dresses pretty cool. He has that same appeal that reminds me of like all the guys I grew up with. And I think I had a lot of just I had a very large family, and I always get comfort in anything that feels close to that. So, and I grew up with like Troy Aikman posters all over
Yeah.
everybody's walls, and that whole deal. My grandpa obviously was a huge one. So he's not a celebrity or an icon, but to me, he's everything because he also wore white pearl snaps, khaki pants, and
Oh
boots
my
every single
God. So
day.
good.
I never saw him without his hat. And if I did, there would be like, the indent
Yes.
line because it
Yeah.
never
Because he
came
had it
off
on all the time. Yeah.
always. And he had a Ranger belt. Like that was very specific too. He didn't really wear buckles because he was a sheriff. So he
Oh,
didn't do rodeo or anything. So he just wore a Ranger belt buckle. Um,
so cool.
LBJ.
Kinky LBJ's huge.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
The moment we started collecting
Classic.
hats, we got open roads
Yeah.
immediately. And it's
Yeah.
funny because now it's become so popular and very much a part of everything. But I would wear them to Fort Worth and people would kind of make fun of me for having too small of a hat, and now I feel like I'm also like, this is
Everybody.
LBJ's hat. This is the hat.
Yeah, right. And I think that like the thing that's so fascinating about like what you've built with Lauren Owen of Texas is like it's so um natural for somebody that grew up here, or that has been here for a while, like in remembering like this is a normal way to dress. Like these are normal like
Totally.
accessories and whatever. This is how you put it together. And there was a time where people would be like, what is up with the hat and the boots? Okay. And now it's like
So what?
everybody, it's like this culture, this Western culture is like, I don't know if it's like having a moment or if people are finally kind of realizing that this is classic American style
Totally.
and it's rooted, here. But I just think it's really interesting how it's kind of like everybody wants to like listen to country music now. Post Malone is now doing country music, which I love so much. But it's like
He's got some
it
twangy
used to be
stuff.
so uncool to listen to country music,
I
like
know.
so
Yeah.
uncool to listen
Oh,
to country
totally.
music.
That's what I mean. Like there was a period where I was like, oh, I won't associate with country. But
Same.
in the back of
Totally,
my
yes.
head, if like George Strait comes on, I'm gonna start singing
Mine was Strawberry
Amarillo.
Wine.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah, Dean
favorite
Brody.
country song in the 90s.
Anything from Richard Linklater. I mean,
Yeah.
the first
Oh
time
yeah.
we saw like McConaughey walk into the pool hall to the Bob Dylan song, about the boxer, the hurricane, right? Like
Mhm.
that scene, that whole vibe is so powerful. And Wes Anderson's from Austin, like
Tom Ford.
Tom
Yes.
Ford. Oh yeah, who did Gucci? That was our whole combo.
If you
Yeah.
guys were trying to tell somebody that's moving to Texas, like you have to have this in your wardrobe. Otherwise, people are gonna like, if there was one thing I want to hear from Lauren, and then I also want to hear from Matt, that you would tell somebody to put in their wardrobe to make sure that they have,
Oh.
what would you say?
Hands down, boots. I mean,
Yeah.
if I had to walk out, I'm just like, there's so many places that I'm like, if I had no clothes but underwear on and I had a pair of boots, I could do everything I need to do.
Yeah.
I've had that happen. We've been like, in like Round Top, and I've had to like run out to the car. I'm putting on boots. I'm not putting anything, I just need to not get like bitten by a snake or something when we're out somewhere random.
I
And
mean,
I find
yeah.
them to be comfortable and easy to wear. I don't
wear
like
my
laces
boots all the
anymore.
time. Yeah. I mean, it's so easy. And I feel like they go with everything and they are
Yeah.
just so comfortable. It's kind of just like you kind of can't go wrong when you put on a pair of
Yeah.
boots, like whether you're
No.
wearing a skirt or jeans or khakis or whatever it is, like it kind of looks good with everything, even with shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been
we-
guilty.
Absolutely.
New style
Yeah,
coming out.
I'll do that.
New lookbook coming out soon with a bunch of that.
Yes, me too. Well, I didn't realize. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know this, but I didn't know like cowboy boots are from here. It's not something that was from someplace else that traveled here and was adopted by Texans. It's from this region, and it didn't exist as a cowboy boot before that point. There was like the like Spanish cowboys would wear
Over here.
these, or like
Yeah.
would wear these low cut boots that had points and like heels that looked similar to
Mhm.
cowboy boots on the bottom, but they were
Uh-huh.
short, so they had to wear like different things to protect their legs. And
Yeah, so super
that's
similar
Such
to
a
like
utilitarian
dressage
thing.
when you have like the short Blundstones and then you would put like
yes,
a leather suede kind of like shin guard that would
Oh,
Velcro
yeah.
around your,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes, and then you have like the equestrian boots that are the taller ones, but those are really tall and they have like a sharp
And you put
bottom on them.
Casey in the mix, who brings like Italian
Yeah, well, the
Mhm.
Italian,
shoemaking.
they emigrated here from
Yeah.
Italy and brought their shoemaking, but they combine those two things. It's from here. It's such a cool,
It's a good
uh,
mix.
yeah,
Yeah,
element.
it's that same. It's so Texan when you think about it again. Vaqueros and Italians all coming
Yeah.
together to make a utilitarian item just to
That's also like
protect.
beautiful.
That's
and
gorgeous.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we just did an art show in Fort Worth where they paired up all these artists with like some of our like more special boots that we've been collecting personally, just makers. And oh my God, they're gorgeous. Boots are just incredible.
How
They're
many pairs
artwork
do
in
you guys
themselves.
have each? How do y'all, and all, how many pairs do you have each? And then also like when you find something, this is kind of getting to like the holy grail question in a minute, but like, how do you, when you're finding the stuff for the store, how do you say like, okay, it's going to go in the store. Like it's not going to be for me. That's gotta be so hard.
It's so hard.
I think Matt has a harder time than I do.
It's broken me though. The store's been so, it's almost therapy because I've been able to like, we'll bring stuff in and I'll have it for a period of time and then I'll
Yeah.
be ready to like, because we find so much cool stuff. Yeah, Lawrence, wink, wink. I don't always,
He's not always ready.
I'm not always ready. The artwork is hard. We find really gorgeous artwork a lot and I have a hard
Yeah.
time letting some of that go. But boots, I've actually done it to a fault. Literally, we just went to the Austin Rodeo Gala. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have any black boots. I sold all of my black boots because I kind of just put them in the store and they will move. And I had to run. Where'd I go? I went to the guy up on North Lamar and found a pair of vintage black snakeskins
Yeah.
that he just happened to have. Thank goodness we're in Texas. I
That's
can
so
just
funny
go
that you
grab a pair of
didn't,
boots.
that's hysterical that you didn't even have a pair of black boots.
Yeah,
I mean,
I had to go
consider,
grab them. When we got the shop, like it was, you know, we had kids, they're here. We knew we wanted to be here. And it was really about community and wanting to kind of put something up to be more a part of the community. And I think the same thing comes with all the stuff because everything in it we love personally. So we would keep honestly anything we put in the, if Lauren wouldn't wear it or I wouldn't wear it or put it at our house, we won't
That's
even
our
buy
one.
it. So yeah,
it doesn't
if
go
it's
in the
not
store. That's a,
yeah,
yeah.
period.
I mean, and I
And
think you can tell that. I think you can tell when you walk into the store, you can tell that it's, you know, there are tons of vintage stores all over the place that have the vintage boots and all, and the jeans and the bolo ties and the hats and like all of the things. But it's so, and I hate to use this term like curated and like edited. It's just been so overused. It doesn't even have meaning anymore, but it does feel like such a thoughtful, like a deeply thoughtful mix in the store. It's like you have that wall of boots, but it's not like 100 boots. It's like 50 boots or like 60 boots, but like every single pair that you see, you're like, oh my gosh, wait, I want that pair. I want that pair. You know, it's like, it's very, very, it just feels super thoughtful. I'm just such a huge fan. And I felt like when I walked in there last year, I was just like, where has this been? You know, it's like finally somebody with the eye and with the intention to like put all of this stuff together. And it's just it's so beautiful. I'm such a huge fan. We're going to do something real quick that's like a rapid fire that you guys, I'm going to throw at you and you just have to let me know right off the top of your head what you choose. It's Texas, like this or that. And if you have, you know, I'm going to go ahead and apologize for some of these because it's going to hurt for you to have to make a decision on some of these. Okay, so you guys can each answer after one another. And here we go. Okay, barbecue or Tex-Mex?
Barbecue.
Barbecue. Yeah.
Oh my
I mean, that's a
gosh, okay.
hard one.
I know. Okay, Galveston or the Hill Country?
Hill Country.
September,
say
Texas
separate.
State Fair or spring rodeo season?
Spring rodeo.
Spring rodeo.
East Texas Piney Woods or West Texas Desert?
West Texas desert.
West Texas desert.
Okay, Tito's or Lalo?
Lalo.
Lalo.
Fort Worth or Dallas?
Fort Worth.
That's a no. I mean,
I almost
Grow-
said Dallas just to mess with
oh,
you.
that would have been messed up. I mean, literally Fort Worth's motto is "Life is too young to live in Dallas." So,
Oh my God, that's hysterical. I've actually never heard that.
Quick
That is
note
so
on that
funny. Miranda Lambert or Casey Musgraves?
Casey Musgraves.
Casey Musgraves.
Luke Wilson or Owen Wilson?
Owen.
Luke Wilson.
Rio Grande or the Guadalupe?
Rio Grande.
Guadalupe.
Dazed and Confused or Bottle Rocket?
Dazed and Confused.
Dazed and Confused.
Okay, this is the one that really threw some people for a loop. Big Red or Dr. Pepper?
Oh, Dr. Pepper.
Big Red.
Okay.
I mean, I can't have it all the time.
Fago Pop. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do Big Red.
Our whole family is Dr. Pepper family, and I am too. But if I get a chance to have that red dye number 40 or whatever it is, I will drink it.
So
And
good. It's
especially when
so
we have
good.
barbecue, because everybody has Big Red that has barbecue. So I always
You
go.
have to have Big Red with barbecue.
Mhm.
It's so good. I am a huge
So
Dr. Pepper
good.
fan, but I love Big Red. I grew up drinking Big Red.
Totally.
It's the best. So
And I try not
well,
to
guys,
as much as possible.
Yeah,
But
I know. Well, God knows what's in it, but it's delicious. I don't care.
it's so
I don't
good.
care. Look, I grew up drinking it and I'm fine. So
Yeah, there you go.
can't be that bad. Guys, thank you so much for the
Thank you.
conversation. I loved hearing about Lauren Owen of Texas. I know everybody else will too. And if people can't get to the actual store, you do have like a resale shop on freepeople.com, and we'll put it in our show notes so people can shop straight from their computer because they're going to want to after listening to this. But I just appreciate your time so much. And I appreciate what you're doing for, in the store. It's just so beautiful. And for anybody that can get there ASAP, because it's just one of the best shops in Texas. That's for sure.
You're incredibly kind. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
This has been Front of Book Texas. We've got a new conversation every 2 weeks, so don't just listen, subscribe, follow, and share. I want to thank my executive producer, Georgiana Moreland. Front of Book Texas. Texas creativity, global reach.